Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to get through this thing called life. If you know that lyric, then you are my people. So in my opinion, I think it's time for Gen X to shine. I mean, weren't we called the forgotten generation? I think now we should be called the shining generation. I think there are so many of us out there, apparently 64.5 million in the United States alone. There's so many of us out there that have stories to tell, experiences to share, wisdom to impart. So last night, I was watching one of my favorite YouTubers. She has a channel called In the Wild West. I will link it below, and her name is Tracy. Tracy and I are about the same age. So just that alone, we have a few things in common. But the video that I watched last night really gripped me by the heart. She sat alone under a tree and just kind of poured her heart out. She was talking about all sorts of things that she deals with, that she struggles with, that she thinks, that she feels, some things about her past, some things about her present. And I don't know, it just really resonated with me. And I left her a really long comment last night after I watched the video. And it really got me thinking, because in January, I started this YouTube channel so that I could just talk to my fellow Gen Xers and just kind of share about the things that I have been experiencing, going through, feeling. There are some big milestones in my life that have really recently rocked my foundation. And so I have found this really therapeutic just to get on and share. And then, of course, I'm receiving all kinds of comments from people all over the world that are going through similar things. And it's just so good to support each other and just hear that we're not alone in some of these journeys that we are taking. You know, as much as I have chatted about Gen X is getting old, do we look old? Do we act old? Do we struggle with new technology? Yada, yada, yada. I really don't think we're old. We're definitely in that in-between stage. Many of us are very active still. Many of us have a very youthful outlook on life. We love learning new things. We love getting challenged. We love still experiencing life. Maybe not the exact way we did in our 20s, but nonetheless, we love to experience life and enjoy it as much as we can. I say we're young in that if you have a bunch of Gen Xers in a room and you pop on an 80s tune, you will see some serious dancing. Many of us have had rough childhoods because we grew up in the 70s and 80s. But nonetheless, it was still a great time within our history to be a child or to be a teenager. Okay, here is my favorite lyric to the Bryan Adams song, Summer of '69. Oh, when I look back now, that summer seemed to last forever. And if I had the choice, yeah, I would always want to be there. Those were the best days of my life. For those of us in our 50s, I'm just going to stick within that decade. When we were teenagers, everything was so huge, so monumental. And I think it was because we didn't have social media, we didn't have that technology. So all we were left with was that personal connection. And, you know, with any coming of age story, everything is magnified times 50. You just feel everything so hard. Man, I miss that time. Remember all the songs from the 80s that really gripped your heart? I don't know if this is true for men, but for women, there's a lot of music out there that we will just melt into a puddle. Here are some of my favorites, and yes, I'm digressing, but this is really important because it's so fun to go down memory lane. Okay, first one, Live to Tell by Madonna. Remember just that first keyboard kind of chord? There was no words for quite a while, and it was just some instrumental music, but as soon as you heard that first part of that first chord, you knew exactly what that song was. All right, next song, These Dreams by Heart. I swear, every time that song came on, I was in the car, traumatized over something, probably something to do with whoever I was dating or loving in my life at that time. And that song just ripped my heart out, and I would drive and I would contemplate life and think that this was the only thing that mattered. I mean, there are no words. Okay, Careless Whisper by Wham. Oh, I mean, I can't even say anything more about that song. That just was the song. Time After Time by Cyndi Lauper. I mean, that was just a beautiful song, a feel-good song, an emotional song. And what's really cool about that is that Cyndi Lauper has done different variations and versions of it throughout the decades. One where she's playing the dulcimer, and it's just fantastic. Take My Breath Away by Berlin. Okay, of course you think about Top Gun and Tom Cruise and that whole scene with the motorcycle and the love scene between him and his instructor. But that song is just so moving. And then finally, Total Eclipse of the Heart by Bonnie Tyler. I mean, how many of us have belted that song out with our fake raspy voice at a karaoke session? I mean, that song can just take you over the edge. Okay, getting back to the reasons why I think our generation has a lot to say, and that we should say it, and that we should shine. It's not just about our age and the fact that we have miles on us and we've lived 5 decades, 6 decades, whatever. It's about the time that we actually lived in. It's about how we were raised, which was very different from any generation to date. It's about how we entertained ourselves without technology. It's about how we played, how we imagined. And finally, it's about how we figured everything out on our own. Because of all of this, we just have a very unique perspective. And by having that unique perspective, we can tell our stories in a way with a certain kind of emotion, with a certain kind of practicality that will not only resonate amongst ourselves, but also to other generations. So what are some ways that we can shine? Well, we have to speak up. Like I said, many people in our age group are getting on YouTube and starting their channels, and they're just talking, and they're sharing things that they've learned in life. They're sharing interesting stories and experiences from careers to job loss, to divorce, to weight loss. I mean, the sky's the limit. There's so much information that we can share with the world and with each other. Another way we can shine is to reinvent ourselves or reinvent our careers. For me personally, I am in the midst of doing this right now, and I can't wait to see what I look like when I come out the other side. Another way we can shine is to build strong communities amongst each other. So just in the 3 months that I've been on YouTube, I have made a handful of new friends from all over the country, and in some cases on the other side of the world. And these are all people that I would have never met in life under any other circumstance. And it is just so magical to meet these people and to discuss our lives and our journey, just not only on YouTube, but our journey in life as we navigate through this new stage. And finally, the last way we can shine is to embrace visibility. We should no longer be the quiet generation. We should be the shining generation. We, both men and women, have always been loud and proud. So embrace your inner 80s teenager, get out there, live like there's no tomorrow. And let's take the world by storm and tell our stories. And not just tell our stories, but support each other. Create our Gen X community, or just simply create our second half of life community. So I invite anyone in their 40s all the way up to your 80s. If you aren't already shining, get out there and shine. Tell your story in whatever means and way you can. Whether you write a book, whether you get on YouTube, whether you write a blog, there are so many ways that you can tell your story. And believe me, those of us out here who have just started to do it are loving it. Yes, it's scary. Yes, it's challenging. Yes, we've had to learn some new skills, but I can say for the most part that we are loving it, and it's almost kind of therapeutic. So let's keep building our community and supporting each other. Let me know in the comments below if you have a YouTube channel, if you are just starting out, if you have a blog, if you have a website, if you have any other means to which you are trying to reinvent yourself, tell your story, and find and be a part of a new community in your life. Let's keep building each other up and support each other and continue to build our communities. As always, thank you again for watching. My name is Noelle, and I will talk to you in the next video. Go Gen X!